The warning. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of humanity's embassy on Station Alpha, watching the endless dance of ships against the backdrop of stars. The massive structure, hanging in space like a gleaming silver wheel, represented everything humanity had achieved in just 3 centuries of space travel. Perhaps too much, too fast, if the Council's latest message was any indication. "They're afraid of us," Marcus Hayes, her chief advisor, said from behind her. His reflection in the transparent aluminum showed lines of worry etched deeper than usual on his dark face. The Council has never issued a Category 1 summons to a member species before. Sarah's fingers traced the edge of the datapad containing the summons. "Fear makes people do stupid things, Marcus. Even aliens who've had spaceflight for 10,000 years. The Council chamber lived up to its reputation for architectural intimidation. Curved walls rose hundreds of meters, decorated with holographic representations of member species achievements. Sarah noted, with a mix of pride and concern, that humanity's section had grown significantly in the past decade. Their rapid progress from planetary civilization to galactic power had broken every record in Council history. High Arbiter Kelvax, a towering figure whose crystalline body structure caught and reflected light in mesmerizing patterns, called the session to order. "Ambassador Chen, humanity stands accused of reckless advancement in violation of Council safety protocols. Your species has developed quantum tunneling technology, advanced AI systems, and biomechanical augmentation, all without proper oversight." Sarah stepped forward, her footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. "With respect, Arbiter, the membership charter guarantees technological autonomy within safety parameters. We've violated no laws." "Laws are not the issue," came a new voice, smooth as silk but cold as space itself. Delegate Zirain of the Mrath Collective glided forward, his serpentine form casting long shadows. "The issue is stability. Your species advances like a supernova, brilliant, fast, and destructive to everything in its path." Sarah felt her jaw tighten. The Mrath were known for their conservative approach to technology, taking centuries to implement even minor improvements. "We advance carefully, with extensive testing. Like your quantum tunneling experiments," Zirain interrupted. "The ones that created temporary rifts in space-time. The effects were detected 3 sectors away. Effects that were contained and predicted by our models," Sarah countered. "The experiments advanced our understanding of spatial mechanics by decades." "That is precisely our concern," High Arbiter Kelvax interjected. "Decades of progress in months. It is unprecedented. Dangerous." Sarah looked around the chamber, noting the mix of fear, curiosity, and in some cases, barely concealed envy on the faces of various delegates. "What exactly are you asking of us?" "The Council has drafted new regulations," Kelvax announced, his crystalline form pulsing with soft light. "All member species must submit research proposals for approval before proceeding with advanced technological development. A committee will review each proposal, with an estimated processing time of 5 to 10 standard years." The chamber fell silent, waiting for humanity's response. Sarah felt the weight of Earth's future pressing down on her shoulders. She thought of the research facilities back home, the brilliant minds pushing the boundaries of what was possible, the hope in young students' eyes as they dreamed of new frontiers. "No," she said simply. Murmurs erupted throughout the chamber. Kelvax's crystalline form flickered in surprise. "Ambassador Chen, this is not a request. The Council has voted. The Council has voted to impose restrictions that would cripple human development," Sarah interrupted, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast space. "We cannot accept that. Will not accept that." Zirain's scales rippled with anger. "Then perhaps humanity is not ready for membership in this Council." "Perhaps," Sarah replied, maintaining her composure. "The Council isn't ready for humanity." As she turned to leave, Kelvax called out, "Ambassador, refusing Council directives has consequences. Severe ones." Sarah paused at the chamber's entrance, looking back over her shoulder. "So does trying to cage something that's meant to be free, Arbiter." You might want to consider which consequences you're prepared to face. Back on the embassy level, Marcus fell into step beside her. They'll retaliate. Trade restrictions, technology embargoes. They'll try, Sarah agreed, reaching for her comm unit. Get me a direct line to Earth Command. And Marcus, tell our research facilities to begin implementing Protocol Omega. The failsafe. Marcus's eyes widened. That's for full isolation scenarios. Sarah nodded grimly. They're not trying to regulate us, Marcus. They're trying to contain us. And if there's one thing human history teaches us, it's that attempting to contain humanity never ends well for the ones doing the containing. As she strode toward her office, emergency alerts began flashing across the station's info screens. Multiple ships were dropping out of hyperspace, Council security vessels, no doubt. But Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They were too late. Protocol Omega was designed for exactly this scenario. The complete transfer of human research facilities into hidden locations across unexplored space, ready to continue their work beyond the Council's reach. The game was about to change, and the Council had no idea they'd just created exactly what they feared most: a humanity operating without constraints, driven by the very pressure meant to control them. The warning had been delivered, but not the one the Council intended. Defiance's price. 3 months after humanity's refusal to submit to Council oversight, the Nova Roma colony went dark. Commander Elena Santos stood in the ruins of what had been the colony's central plaza, her environment suit's sensors struggling to analyze the strange residue coating every surface. The colony's protective dome remained intact, but inside, evidence of violence was everywhere. No bodies. Her XO, Lieutenant James Chen, reported through the comm. 3,000 colonists don't just vanish. Elena knelt, running her gloved hand along a peculiar pattern etched into the metal ground. They didn't vanish, James. They were taken. The attack pattern was unlike anything in human records. The colony's advanced defense systems had been bypassed completely. No alarms triggered. No distress calls sent. If not for the automated check-in protocols failing, they might not have known for days. Command's not going to like this, James said, his helmet lights illuminating more of the strange markings. This is the third colony hit in 2 weeks. Elena's jaw tightened behind her faceplate. The timing wasn't coincidental. Ever since Earth rejected the Council's demands, human settlements had faced increasing accidents and mysterious incidents. But this was different. This was escalation. Her suit's comm crackled. Commander, you need to see this. In the colony's research center, Specialist Maya Patel waited beside a still-functional holographic display. As Elena approached, Maya manipulated the controls, bringing up a sequence of security recordings. "Watch the timestamp," Maya said, pointing to the corner of the display. The recording showed normal colony activity, then jumped forward 3 minutes. In that gap, everything changed. The plaza went from bustling with colonists to completely empty. "That's impossible," James muttered. "Even with advanced teleportation tech, you can't move that many people that quickly." The energy signatures would be massive. Elena studied the recording, something nagging at her military-trained mind. "Maya, can you check the quantum signature logs? Look for any distortions in local spacetime." Maya's fingers flew over the controls. Data streamed across the display, and her sharp intake of breath told Elena she'd found something. "Commander, these readings, they're similar to our quantum tunneling experiments. But the scale is enormous." "The Council," Elena said, the pieces falling into place. "They claimed our experiments were dangerous, but they've been developing their own version. More advanced, more controlled." James shook his head. "Why would they take our people?" "The Council's always preached non-intervention." "Because they're scared," Elena replied, her voice hard. "This isn't about safety protocols or regulations anymore. They're systematically removing what they see as the most dangerous elements of human civilization. Our pioneers, our researchers, our innovators. Her comm unit chimed with an encrypted signal from Earth Command. The message was brief but confirmed her worst fears. 2 more colonies had gone silent while they were investigating this one. "Orders, Commander," James asked. Elena stared at the empty plaza through the research center's windows. The Council had miscalculated. They thought they could contain humanity's growth by removing their brightest minds. Instead, they'd given humanity something far more dangerous, a common enemy. "Contact Admiral Chen," she commanded. "Tell him we've confirmed Council involvement. Then activate the Prometheus Protocol." Maya's eyes widened. The prototype. But it hasn't been tested outside simulation. Sometimes the best solutions come from desperate situations, Elena said, remembering her grandfather's words from the First Contact War. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our resources. It's our ability to adapt and overcome, especially when backed into a corner. The Prometheus Protocol was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a revolutionary quantum detection system designed to track and predict space-time distortions. If the Council was using advanced quantum tunneling to abduct their people, this would find them. As her team prepared to return to their ship, Elena took one last look at the colony. The Council thought they were teaching humanity a lesson. Instead, they were about to learn one themselves. Never give humans a reason to unite against you. Back aboard the TSV Hyperion, Elena reviewed the preliminary data from the Prometheus Protocol. The quantum distortion patterns were complex, but not random. They formed a network, like a web stretching across Council space. "They've been planning this for years," she murmured, studying the patterns. "The technology, the coordination. This isn't just about containing us. They're harvesting our innovation." The realization hit her like a physical blow. The Council hadn't banned quantum tunneling research because it was dangerous. They'd banned it because they wanted to maintain their monopoly on the technology. How many other restricted technologies were they secretly developing? Her tactical display lit up with new alerts. More colonies going dark. But now they could see the pattern, track the quantum signatures. Each disappearance added another point of data, another piece of the puzzle. "Commander," Maya called from her station, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the quantum network. They're building towards something big." Elena watched the energy patterns spike across her display. Whatever the Council was planning, they were accelerating their timeline. But they'd made one critical mistake. They'd assumed humanity would be paralyzed by fear and confusion. They'd forgotten that humans had survived and thrived throughout their history precisely because they functioned best under pressure. Now, with their backs against the wall, humanity would show the galaxy why they'd risen so far so fast. "Send word to Earth Command," Elena ordered. "Tell them we're initiating Phase 2, and get me a secure channel to Ambassador Chen. She needs to know what we found." The price of defiance had been high, but the Council was about to learn that the cost of underestimating humanity would be even higher. The hidden truth. Deep within a classified research facility on Europa, Ambassador Sarah Chen stared at the holographic data Commander Santos had sent. The quantum network map pulsed with activity, each point representing another human colony that had vanished. "It's not just about controlling us," she said, turning to Dr. Victor Raman, Earth's leading xenorchaeologist. "These patterns, they're familiar to you, aren't they?" Victor nodded grimly, his weathered face reflected in the holographic light as he manipulated the display. "They matched the ancient ruins we found on Mars, the ones the Council insisted we stop excavating." The ruins had been humanity's first hint that they weren't alone in the galaxy, discovered years before First Contact. The Council had immediately declared the site restricted, citing cultural preservation protocols. Now Sarah understood why. "Show me the overlay," she commanded. Victor pulled up the Mars ruins' energy signature patterns. When superimposed over the quantum network map, the correlation was undeniable. The Council wasn't just copying human quantum technology. They were recreating something far older and more dangerous. Sarah's secure comm chirped. Commander Santos's face appeared, her expression tense. "Ambassador, we've detected massive energy buildup in the network. Whatever they're planning, it's happening soon." "How many colonies have we lost?" Sarah asked. 27. Over 50,000 people. Elena's voice was hard. "But the Prometheus Protocol is giving us something unexpected. The quantum signatures. They're not just moving our people. They're changing them somehow." Sarah exchanged looks with Victor. "Send us the biological data." The new information confirmed their worst fears. The colonists weren't just being abducted. They were being altered at the quantum level. Their DNA was being rewritten in specific patterns that matched symbols found in the Mars ruins. "They're trying to recreate something," Victor muttered, his fingers tracing ancient glyphs. The ruins spoke of a race that existed before all others, beings of pure quantum energy who could reshape reality itself. "The precursors," Sarah breathed. The name appeared in countless alien myths, always whispered, always feared. "The Council doesn't fear our advancement. They fear we'll discover the truth about what they did to the precursors." A new alert flashed across their screens. The quantum network was surging with unprecedented energy. At its center, deep in Council space, something was taking shape. "They're not just recreating precursor technology," Victor realized, horror dawning on his face. "They're trying to recreate the precursors themselves, using our people as templates because we're the only species whose neural patterns can handle quantum integration." Sarah's mind raced. The Council's desperate attempts to control human advancement, their fear of quantum research, their insistence on technological stagnation, it all served to prevent anyone from discovering their greatest crime. They hadn't just destroyed the precursors. They'd trapped them, scattered their consciousness across quantum space. Now they were trying to bring them back, but under their control. And they needed humans to do it. "Commander Santos," Sarah called, "how soon can the Prometheus Protocol be modified to disrupt their network?" "Hours, maybe less. But Ambassador, if we shut it down mid-process, the consequences could be catastrophic," Victor finished. "We're talking about quantum-entangled consciousness. If we disrupt it wrong, we could lose everyone connected to the network." Sarah felt the weight of 50,000 lives pressing down on her. But it wasn't just about the colonists anymore. The Council's arrogance threatened the very fabric of space-time. "We're not going to shut it down," she declared. "We're going to take control of it." Both Victor and Elena stared at her. "That's impossible," Victor protested. "The network is based on technology thousands of years beyond us." Sarah smiled grimly. "No, it's based on precursor technology. Technology they specifically designed to interface with minds like ours. The Council might have the hardware, but we have something they don't. The right kind of consciousness to control it." She turned to Elena. "Commander, how many ships can you get to these coordinates in the next 6 hours?" "Nearly half the fleet. But the Council's defenses won't be focused on us," Sarah interrupted. "Not when their precious network starts turning against them." Victor studied the Mars data with renewed intensity. The ruins, they weren't just historical records. They were instructions. The precursors knew someone would find them eventually. Someone with the right kind of mind to understand. "And now we know why the Council was so desperate to keep us from advancing too quickly," Sarah added. "We're not just random inheritors of precursor potential. We're their failsafe. The species they knew would eventually evolve with the right attributes to set them free." Deep in Council space, the quantum network continued to pulse with growing power. The Council thought they were on the verge of their greatest triumph, the controlled rebirth of the most powerful species the galaxy had ever known. Instead, they were about to learn why the precursors had chosen humanity as their heirs. It wasn't just about consciousness compatibility or neural patterns. It was about something far more fundamental, the unshakable human drive to right the wrongs of history, no matter the cost. "Send word to every human ship in range," Sarah commanded. "Tell them to prepare for quantum synchronization. We're about to remind the galaxy why you should never underestimate humanity's capacity for turning the impossible into reality." The pieces were in place. The ancient truth was revealed. Now came the real test, whether humanity could harness the power of the very beings the Council had feared for millennia, and in doing so, reshape the destiny of the galaxy itself. Breaking point. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect synchronization, their arrival sending ripples through the quantum network that pulsed at the heart of Council space. Aboard the flagship TSV Hyperion, Commander Elena Santos watched the tactical display as hundreds of ships took their positions. Council Defense Fleet incoming, Lieutenant Chen reported. They're moving to intercept. Elena barely acknowledged the report, her attention focused on the massive structure floating before them. The Council's quantum array stretched across space like a vast geometric web, its center glowing with impossible energies. Within that light, she knew, were 50,000 human souls being transformed into something beyond current understanding. All ships, maintain formation, she ordered. Begin quantum synchronization. Across the fleet, the Prometheus protocol activated. Each ship's quantum sensors aligned with the network's frequency, creating a counter-resonance that made the very fabric of space-time shiver. Ambassador Chen's voice came through on the command channel. Commander, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations in the array. The Council is accelerating the process. They're scared, Elena replied, watching the Council ships approach. They know what we've discovered. The first shots fired across space, Council weapons flaring against human shields. But Elena held her fleet steady. They weren't here to fight a conventional battle. In the Europa facility, Sarah Chen and Dr. Raman worked frantically to decode the final pieces of the precursor instructions. The Mars ruins had left them a key, not just to understanding the quantum network, but to communicating with those trapped within it. The colonists' neural patterns are nearly synchronized, Victor reported, his hands dancing across holographic controls. But something's wrong. The Council's transformation process, it's too aggressive. The human consciousness patterns are destabilizing. Sarah's heart raced. They had one chance to get this right. Commander Santos, are you ready? Prometheus protocol at full power, standing by. Sarah took a deep breath. Everything hinged on this moment. Begin transmission. Through the human fleet, a signal pulsed. Not radio, not light, but pure quantum information encoded with patterns taken directly from the Mars ruins. The message was simple but profound, a key to unlock consciousness trapped for millennia in quantum space. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Council array blazed with new light as 50,000 partially transformed human minds suddenly gained access to the quantum realm's deeper layers. They found something there, the scattered fragments of precursor consciousness, waiting for precisely this moment. On the Council's command station, High Arbiter Kelvax watched in horror as the carefully controlled transformation process spiraled beyond their control. "Shut it down," he ordered. "Shut it all down." But it was too late. The quantum network flared with impossible colors as human and precursor consciousness began to merge, not as the Council had planned, but in a way the precursors themselves had designed. The human capacity for adaptation, for evolution under pressure, made them perfect vessels not for controlled reconstruction, but for true rebirth. "Energy levels are off the scale," Victor reported, his voice tense. "The quantum space is becoming unstable." Elena watched as reality itself seemed to bend around the array. All ships brace for quantum shockwave. The explosion of light that followed transcended normal space. When it cleared, the array had transformed. Within its structure, shapes moved that defied conventional physics. Hybrid beings of matter and quantum energy, human consciousness merged with precursor knowledge. And they were awake, and they remembered. The Council fleet opened fire, their weapons useless against beings that existed partially outside normal spacetime. The hybrid entities reached out, their thoughts rippling through quantum space, and Council ships simply stopped, held in temporal stasis. "This is not what we intended." Kelvax's transmission cut through all frequencies. You don't understand what you've done. No, Sarah's voice replied, calm but firm. You don't understand what you did. The precursors didn't need to be controlled or recreated. They needed to be freed. And they chose humanity as the key to their freedom. The hybrid beings moved through space, their very presence causing reality to fluctuate. Each one had once been human, a colonist, a researcher, a pioneer. Now they were something more, something that bridged the gap between current reality and the quantum realm. But the transformation was still unstable. The merged consciousness of 50,000 humans and ancient precursor fragments threatened to tear apart the very fabric of space-time. Ambassador, Elena called urgently, the quantum field is collapsing. If we don't stabilize it, we'll lose them all, and half this sector with them. Sarah looked to Victor, who was furiously analyzing the Mars data. There's a pattern here, he said. The precursors, they weren't just leaving us instructions for freedom. They were leaving us a blueprint for sustainability. Commander, Sarah ordered, reconfigure the Prometheus protocol. We're not just going to witness this transformation. We're going to guide it. The human fleet moved into a new formation, their quantum synchronization creating a stabilizing field around the hybrid entities. It wasn't about control, as the Council had tried. It was about support, about providing a framework for something entirely new to exist. As the quantum field began to stabilize, the hybrid beings turned their attention to the Council fleet. The moment of truth had arrived. Humanity had not just freed the precursors, they had become part of them, and now the Council would have to face the consequences of their millennia-old crimes. The galaxy was about to change forever. The only question was, would the Council survive that change? Evolution's choice. Time seemed to stand still in the space between moments. The hybrid beings, part human, part precursor, hovered in the quantum-charged void, their very existence defying the laws of conventional physics. The Council fleet hung motionless before them, trapped in temporal stasis, while the human fleet maintained its stabilizing formation. In the Europa facility, Sarah Chen watched the sensor readings with a mixture of awe and apprehension. They're reaching consensus, she said softly. The quantum patterns of the hybrid consciousness were aligning. 50,000 transformed humans joining with ancient precursor knowledge to form something unprecedented in galactic history. The first communication came not in words, but in pure thought, resonating through the quantum field that connected all present. We remember. The message carried the weight of millennia, the combined memory of humanity's determination, and the precursor's ancient wisdom. Images flashed through the minds of all who witnessed. The Council's original betrayal, the trapped precursor consciousness scattered across quantum space, and the long wait for a species with the right attributes to serve as the key to both freedom and evolution. High Arbiter Kelvax's voice trembled across the communications channels. You cannot understand the burden we carried. The precursor's power threatened the stability of the galaxy itself. No, came the response, this time tinged with distinctly human elements of judgment and understanding. You feared what you could not control. And in your fear, you committed a crime against consciousness itself. The hybrid beings moved through space with liquid grace, their forms shifting between states of matter and energy. Where they passed, reality rippled like water disturbed by stones. Commander Elena Santos watched her tactical display as the quantum field fluctuated. The network is stabilizing, she reported. They're learning to exist in both states simultaneously. Not just existing, Victor added from Europa, his eyes fixed on the sensor data. They're establishing a new paradigm. The human consciousness is acting as an anchor, allowing the precursor aspects to interact with normal spacetime without destroying it. The Council ships were released from stasis, their weapons powered down. The hybrid beings had no need for conventional conflict. Their very nature represented a power beyond physical constraints. We offer choice, the hybrid consciousness projected. Not dominance, as the Council feared. Not extinction, as they predicted. But evolution, controlled not by decree, but by readiness. Sarah understood first. "They're offering to share the transformation," she said in wonder, "but only with those who are ready to accept it." The quantum field pulsed with confirmation. The hybrid beings had found a balance between precursor power and human wisdom. They would not force change, as the Council had tried to do. Instead, they would become guides, offering species the chance to evolve when they reached the appropriate level of consciousness development. And humanity? Kelvax asked, fear and curiosity warring in his voice. "Humanity has proven itself," the response came. "Not through power or control, but through adaptation, determination, and the courage to face the unknown. They are ready not just for transformation, but for guardianship." The implications rippled through the assembled fleets. Humanity would not be forced to submit to Council control. Instead, they would become partners with the hybrid beings, helping to guide the galaxy's species toward their own potential transformations. Belina felt the truth of it resonate through the quantum field. The Prometheus Protocol, she realized. It wasn't just for tracking quantum signatures. It was preparing us for this role. Sarah nodded. The pieces all fit together. Humanity's rapid advancement, their unique neural patterns, their ability to adapt and overcome. They hadn't just been chosen to free the precursors. They had been chosen to prevent the mistakes of the past from being repeated. The hybrid beings moved into a new formation, creating a stable quantum matrix that would serve as a bridge between normal space and the quantum realm. Through this bridge, communication and eventual transformation would be possible for those ready to take that step. "The Council's age of control is ended," the hybrid consciousness declared. "The age of choice begins." Kelvax's crystalline form dimmed in submission. "And what of those who are not ready for such evolution?" "They will be protected," came the response, "and guided. Not through force, but through example. Humanity and the transformed will serve as proof that evolution need not be feared." The human fleet began receiving new quantum signatures, patterns that would allow them to maintain contact with the hybrid beings while continuing their own development. They would not be transformed against their will, but would have the opportunity when they chose to take it. "And so humanity becomes the bridge," Sarah said softly, understanding at last why the precursors had chosen them. It wasn't just their neural patterns or their adaptability. It was their fundamental nature. Their ability to face the unknown with determination instead of fear, to choose evolution over stagnation. The quantum field stabilized into permanent pathways, linking normal space with the quantum realm in sustainable ways. The hybrid beings took up their positions as guardians of this new order, while the human fleet prepared to escort the Council ships back to their territories. The galaxy would never be the same. The Council's grip on technological development was broken, replaced by a system of earned advancement and chosen evolution. Humanity had not just defeated those who would shackle them. They had helped create a new path forward for all species. Evolution's greatest power, the hybrid consciousness shared in a final message, is not in the change itself, but in the choice to embrace it. As the fleets began their journeys home, Sarah looked out at the transformed space before her. The quantum pathways shimmered like aurora, a constant reminder that the greatest adventures often begin with a simple choice. The choice to defy those who would hold you back, and to reach instead for something greater than yourself. Humanity had made that choice, and in doing so, they had not just secured their own freedom, but had helped reshape the very nature of galactic civilization itself.